I went from 93 kgs down to 78 kgs and lost about 15 kgs of pure body fat while maintaining muscle mass. If you follow the roadmap that I'm going to give you in this video, you'll be able to start seeing progress and start losing body fat today. The first step is to calculate your TDEE. This stands for your total daily energy expenditure. Your body burns a certain amount of calories every single day to just maintain itself. Whenever you eat in a calorie deficit, which means you eat less calories than your TDEE, your body has to tap into its own energy as a source of fuel. So if you're eating less calories from food, your body still needs that energy to maintain itself. So what it starts to do is it starts to tap into body fat as its own source of energy. So all body fat is basically just stored energy that your body can tap into in the future. So if you want to start losing body fat, you have to first find your TDEE, eat in a calorie deficit, and then you can start tapping into your own fat stores to cover the room for that calorie deficit. So how do you calculate your TDEE? Well, I've actually linked an online calculator in the description below. What you do is you plug in your height, weight, age, and general activity levels, and it makes a sort of calculation of how many calories you burn on a day-to-day basis. So let's say you burn 2,500 calories as your TDEE. Reduce 2,500 calories by 500 calories, and that's your new calorie goal for every single day. This will automatically put you in a 500 calorie deficit, and because you're in a calorie deficit, your body starts tapping into its own body fat as a source of fuel. So how do you know you're hitting your calories? How do you know how many calories are in what food? Now the next thing you're going to want to start doing is to start tracking your calories. Now don't be overwhelmed by tracking your calories. It's as simple as taking a picture on your food. Don't think, oh, I have to weigh my food and all that. You don't have to. Because of AI and technology, now it's as simple as just taking a picture and AI will evaluate the calories on the food. Now some people say it's not as accurate, all this or that. I've found that it's within 95% of accuracy most of the time, and if you're going from not tracking any food to now tracking with AI, you've taken the next step and you'll start to see progress from just using the picture scan. Now if you want to learn how to weigh food with the scale and do all like the manual way, which is more accurate, you can just leave a comment and comment the word scale, and I'll make a video how to weigh food with the scale. But it's as simple as just taking a picture scan with your phone and it will scan your food. You can use an app called Calorie. It's one of the best for this. Now you want to start logging your food every single day and making sure that you never exceed your calorie goal. The next is you really got to focus on your diet, because diet is about 80% of the results you get from fitness. Like if you can just optimize your diet, then you will start losing fat regardless of any other factors. You want to focus on getting about 2.2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. So if you weigh 60 kgs, you want to go 60 kgs times 2.2 grams of protein. So that's 132 grams of protein a day. Ensuring that you get enough protein just means that you'll be able to hold on to muscle mass whilst being in a calorie deficit. When you're in a calorie deficit, it's harder to keep muscle and you're more likely to lose muscle. So you need to increase your protein to about 2.2 grams and you'll be able to maintain your muscle mass. The goal is body recomp. You don't want to look like a skinnier, smaller version of yourself. You want to lose the fat while holding onto the muscle. You get that shrink wrap look. Good sources of protein you can use are lean meats. I recommend all of them. Chicken breast, steak, any sort of lean meat you can use. That's totally fine. And then you can use protein shake to fill up the gap from where you can't get from your normal diet. So normal whole food protein from like chicken, steak, meats are always going to be a higher quality, better source of protein. But then if you can't get your full source of protein from those, you can always add protein powder to fill up the gap. The best thing you can do whilst dieting is just eat the same thing every single day, because if you're eating different things every single day, it's hard to track calories and make sure that you're getting the right stuff. But if you're eating the exact same thing every single day, it's way easier because you don't even need to track calories. If you're eating the same thing in the same quantities and the same amounts, then you just have to track calories once and you know how many calories are in your food. The best policy that you can follow whilst dieting is the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you want to be eating clean, whole, organic sources of food, and then 20% of the time you can have like a Snickers bar or a brownie. This is the perfect balance between like dieting and also still having a little bit of freedom. If you go too hard and you try diet 100% and only eat clean organic food, it's going to be too restrictive. You won't be able to last. The best diet in the world is the diet that you can stick to. So if you can't stick to something, then it's unrealistic. What's the point of doing it? So let's say you're eating 2,000 calories every single day. So 80% of those calories, which is 1,600 calories, will be clean, whole, organic food like, you know, chicken breast, rice, broccoli, all that. And then 20% of the time, which is like 400 calories, you can allocate to like a brownie, a cupcake, a cake here and there. That's the perfect balance that refreshes your mind and doesn't make you feel trapped. Step 3 is if you're not tracking, you're slacking. There's about 4 things that you should be tracking. The first one is your weekly average weight. The reason why we take the weekly average is because your weight fluctuates every single day due to like water weight and other factors. So it's much better to just take the average for the week. So the way you do it is you weigh yourself every single day, 7 days, and then you add that number up and divide it by 7, and that's your weekly average weight for week 1. And you want to compare your weekly average weight from week 1 to week 2 and see if the weight is slowly dropping down. Because you've taken the weekly average weight, this is very accurate. So if the weight is slowly going down, perfect, you're in a calorie deficit. If the weight is not moving at all, then you might have to reduce calories by about 200 calories. And then if the weight starts moving, perfect. You don't want to be losing weight too quickly, because if you lose weight too quickly, it means you're tapping into muscle. You're probably losing muscle. The next thing you should be tracking is taking weekly progress photos of the front, side and back. The reason you take progress photos is because the scale sometimes is not that accurate, because your scale doesn't know if it's muscle you're gaining, if it's fat you're losing. It doesn't know the difference. It doesn't show recom. It just shows you a number, and it's so vague. So it's better if you take photos also to use with the scale, because literally your body recomposition could change by you gaining fat and losing muscle at the same time. The scale number stays the same, but then your whole look and your body looks completely different. So that's why it's so recommended to just use progress photos every single week, because now you can see, oh, I'm gaining muscle. The other reason you take photos is because you don't choose where you lose fat, your body chooses. So you might only be looking at your abs to see, am I getting leaner on my abs, but your body could be taking stored fat from your back, from your calves, from your quads, from your face, and everywhere else could be getting leaner. But because you're only checking your abs, then you might be disappointed. So you have to start checking everywhere. Check your back. Your body could be getting leaner on your back, so you have to check everywhere first, because usually the abdomen is one of the last places where fat tends to go. The next thing you should be tracking is your daily steps. It's important to have a daily step goal because it motivates you to walk more. If you have a daily step goal of 10,000 steps and you're at 8,000 at like 5 p.m., you're like more motivated to get that extra 2,000 steps. If you didn't have a step goal, you wouldn't care. But if you're tracking your steps with a Fitbit or your iPhone or whatever, you just naturally tend to get those last few steps and you tend to walk more. You increase your TDEE when you walk more. So your total daily energy expenditure increases and you're able to burn more calories from walking. The best part about walking is walking doesn't increase your hunger that much. So it's different to other forms of cardio like running and high intensity stuff. Walking is super low intensity. You can do it every single day. The last and final thing that you should be tracking is your weight and reps that you do in every single session. When you're in a fat loss phase, you're more likely to lose muscle mass. But you can counteract this by tracking your workouts every single time and pushing for progression. If you did 50 kgs for 10 reps and you have it tracked, written down in your phone, on your next training session, you should look at the reps and the amount of weight you did last week and consciously try and beat what you did last time. When you have this competitive mindset of trying to be better than you were before previously, you naturally just tend to push yourself harder. If you didn't track how much weight or how many reps you did last week, you wouldn't know if you're making progress and you wouldn't have a goal before your set. If you have a clear-cut goal of I want to beat what I did last session, then naturally you just tend to progress way quicker. So start logging the amount of weight and reps that you do in every single gym session. When you're in a cutting phase, every single gym session becomes a war because you've got less energy and you want to keep muscle on bone. The only way you can keep muscle mass when you're in a calorie deficit is if you can progress in your gym sessions. There's a direct correlation between gym progress and the amount of muscle you keep. So if you can fight for that progression every single gym session, it's literally a war. If you can fight for that progression and push harder than you did the last session, then you will be able to keep muscle on bones. You can actually build muscle whilst losing fat at the same time, because if your body genuinely believes that it needs the muscle mass for survival and that without the muscle mass you won't be able to survive, then it will keep the muscle. It will use fat as a source of fuel, and that's how you get that like crazy sculpted look where your body fat is low but you still have the muscle mass and then you look sculpted. It's recommended to prioritize compound movements. Think squat, bench, deadlift, pull-ups, rows, dips. It's way easier to progress in those movements. You can improve your dip strength way quicker than like just isolated bicep curls. So you want to start with your compound exercises, and then after you've done all your compound exercises that will take the most energy, then you can move on to like your isolations. You can do bicep curls and all those other exercises that don't really recruit an insane amount of muscles. So a lot of people say, okay, they're getting 10,000 steps. What's the next step with cardio? And a lot of people make the mistake of starting to do high intensity cardio thinking it burns more calories. And yes, high intensity cardio burns more calories, but the only thing about high intensity cardio is it increases increases your hunger. So yes, you burn more calories, but in the end you just get hungrier, so you tend to eat more. After you've gotten your 10,000 steps, you can start supplementing with incline walking. It's a very low intensity form of cardio. Just keep your heart rate below 140 beats per minute. The way you check your heart rate is you just tap those silver bars on the treadmill and you'll be able to see your heart rate. If you keep your heart rate below 140 beats per minute, this is considered the fat burning zone. Since it's low intensity, your body uses fat as its main source of fuel because it doesn't need quick energy. But if your heart rate is above 140 beats per minute, your body tends to use glycogen and carbs because it's quicker energy than fat stores. If you want a free training plan with workouts and cardio that you can do, just check the description down below. Okay, so step 5 is the forbidden fat loss cheat codes. I've taken you through the entire framework and you can start losing body fat today. But this is the things that are gonna make your fat loss journey a lot easier. The first thing is to eat a lower calorie version of the foods you crave. If you cut out your foods that's too restrictive, you're not gonna be able to last on that diet for long. And this is why 90% of people fail on their diet, is because they're too restrictive on their diet and then they just give up because their diet doesn't feel livable. It's not a lifestyle. The best diet in the world is the diet that doesn't even feel like you're dieting. You can find the lower calorie versions of the food that you enjoy. You can just have those and then you can have the taste and flavor satisfaction of the foods without the calorie downsides. If you enjoy pancakes, instead of cutting out pancakes completely, why not just have lower calorie, higher protein pancakes? You can make protein pancakes at home. If you really enjoy ice cream, you don't have to cut out ice cream completely. You can just make protein ice cream. If you want my protein ice cream and anabolic pancake recipe, comment the word cheat meal recipes, and if this video gets 100,000 likes, I'll drop all my cheat meal recipe. The next thing is you can add volume to your meals. So if you're gonna have a chicken wrap, why not add a lower calorie thing that will make it more filling? So add like salad or spinach. You can have actually half a bowl of spinach and it will be like 20 calories, so of leafy greens, to your chicken wrap, and then this will volumize it and make it way bigger and take more room in your stomach. And the more room food takes in your stomach, the more you have that feeling of like being meals. So those are literally just 2 of my fat loss cheat codes. There's literally 8 more, but I'm scared to just expose them so easily. So DM me fat loss cheat codes on my Instagram and I'll send you all 8 of those cheat codes that you can use. Then the last and final step is to take action. The reason why most people never reach their fitness goals is because they don't take action. They keep procrastinating and they keep pushing it forward and saying, okay, I'll do it in a week, and then a week comes and they'll be like, okay, I'll do it next week, and then another week comes and then they keep pushing it away. But the best time to start was yesterday, and the second best time to start is today. So why not start today and start making progress? It will take a little bit of time, but no matter how much time it takes, at least you will eventually be in the best shape of your life.